Welcome to Live the Mod Life, where we celebrate women and cool men too who are breaking free from the status quo and living life on their own terms. Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Abernathy, and together we're going to explore stories of transformation, resilience, and empowerment. Plus, each month, I'm going to bring you Get Ready for Mod News. This is insights and trends to inspire your life's journey. So let's rise above the expectations, unlock our true potential together, and remember, it's not midlife, it's mod life. And if you're not living your mod life yet, you will be on your way after listening to this episode. Let's go. Okay, welcome to the inaugural episode of Live the Mod Life podcast with our very first guest, where we are going to explore endless possibilities for modern women at midlife and beyond. And today I am thrilled to introduce Sasha Sutton, a woman who embodies the spirit of embracing new challenges and reinventing oneself after 60. Imagine leaving behind a successful 20-year career in financial branding and marketing in New York City to pursue a passion for, are you ready? A passion for poker in Las Vegas. That's exactly what Sasha did at the age of 63, proving that it's never too late to chase your dreams. Now she's one of the few women globally playing Old West style live cash poker, and she's making waves in a male-dominated industry. Sasha's journey is a testament to the power of saying yes to unexpected opportunities. And that's what this podcast is all about, embracing possibility and embracing the unexpected. A chance invitation to a networking event in New York City set her on a path that would ultimately lead her to the high stakes world of professional poker. And her story reminds me, and it's going to remind you, I hope, that sometimes the most life changing moments come when we least expect it. So sit back if you can, or if you're driving, stay tuned, stay awake, because you are going to love this story. And where you're going to hear Sasha's fascinating journey from corporate writer to poker pro, and explore, insights on embracing change and discover how the skills she honed at the poker table can apply to aspects of our everyday lives. So I hope you're inspired by this woman who is proving that midlife is just the beginning of a thrilling new chapter. And I always say it's not midlife, it's mod life. And so enjoy this episode with Sasha Sutton. I want to go back to 2019 when you were in New York City, correct?
Yes.
Okay, take us back. Who you were, what you were doing for a living, and when did that time hit that you decided to make this move?
Okay. I
And
was
then
watching.
sure.
I am going to answer your question sideways. I was watching this new documentary on Saturday Night Live last night, and Tracy Morgan had said, and this is such a gigantic cliche, except that it's so true when it comes out of the mouth of somebody that you respect and you relate to it in terms of your own life experience. It's 10,000 miles past a cliche. But Tracy Morgan said, "Just comedy found me." And when he said it, and I think all of us have had that experience. And for me, poker came at me sideways, and poker really did find me. And it really feels goofy and mystical, and all of the things that we feel when our life. What in poker, there's a phrase called variance in terms of how the deck breaks for or against you. But when our life variance brings something into our lives and creates change in those intersections, we can't, it feels so amazing and overwhelming and scary and all those things. So in my middle 50s, I went to graduate school at 50. I was an aspiring, still in the, I mean, I'm a published fiction writer, but I'm an aspiring novelist. And I did my graduate work at 50 at NYU. And then at
Yeah, I
55,
love
but things and
it.
55, poker really just found me at a corporate networking event. It was completely by accident. I'm I was
Wow.
on the train, I was on the subway, it was snowing, I was angry, I was freezing. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I going to this thing? This is stupid. I almost didn't go. I almost got off the train, but I
And this was
went.
networking. This was a networking event.
It's just a networking event. It was just the one of thousands that I did. I had a marketing company in financial branding, and for 25 years in New York, and that's what I was. I was in my day. I was just in my work day,
Yeah,
going to a
yeah, yeah,
networking
yeah.
thing. Yeah, So I went to this Midtown thing, and I was taught how to play poker that day. Poker is like cards and poker is all over my family, but it was never my thing. And I went to that, and then one thing led to another. But there was something that day, and I'm writing a memoir about my poker life, and I've written about that moment, and I just felt like something just activated in my brain. And I think poker for women, um, and it really is like a kind of intellectually, I consider poker like heroin for women. It's when you if you touch this game and you have a skill set and you respond, it's immediate and it's consuming. There's a young woman playing now at the highest levels in the world. Her name is Elizabeth Chen, and she's playing in some of the biggest games in the world. She's barely 30. She touched poker. She gave up her job as a dance teacher in China and is now sitting at a table with the most prominent high stakes players in the world.
This is
So
incredible. Take me
yeah,
back to that night that you got off the subway. You went into this night.
right. So no, so I went into this event and I just something in my brain exploded. I really felt like competitive and mad that I didn't win. And, I was just like, what the hell is this? And then a couple months later, I was sitting at my desk, you know, um, working and it was snowing and I heard a voice. I swear to God. And the voice was like, you were really happy playing poker. Why don't you do some more of that? And I
Wow.
said, okay. And when
Wow.
women, we don't get a break in terms of trusting our instincts. We don't. And I think in terms of the beauty of your platform and encouraging women, I think my response to what you're doing, Jen, has to do with both women feeling entitled to reinvent their lives at any age,
At
but
any
that's
age,
at
yes.
any age. But that starts with trusting the inner voices, and that's what gets kind of beaten out of us still from a pretty early age.
Oh, yes, it does.
So,
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And,
so
yeah,
yeah.
and so you listened to the voice.
I did, and I took lessons, and nobody like takes lessons in poker. It was the most bizarre thing. But the woman who taught me that day had classes in New York, and I went to those classes, and I met some other gals, and they had like small stakes home games, and we were all hanging out. But this I knew was my life. Like I could feel it. Like I was just like then through my writing life, I was a creative writing workshop facilitator. I met a poker pro, and that was another intersection, right? And I said to him, will you teach me? Will you coach me? And I was like a fetus, right? I knew nothing. Poker is so complicated. So
So
he said yes.
complicated. Yeah, yeah.
He said yes, and he started coaching me, and that's when I knew. And he was a writer with a bank account, so I started to just integrate, and then I just started. I don't want to complicate things for your listeners, but
Yeah, yeah.
poker is bifurcated in terms of like tournament poker, which is mostly on television, and then there's cash poker, which is what I play, which is like old west poker, like saloon style. Which is I'm certain I had a life back then. I'm certain of it. I watch westerns with so much joy. So
Mm.
I found cash poker in New York, and I was an adult. I
In New
was
York
50.
or over in Atlanta? Not to interrupt,
No,
in New
no, I was
York or
playing
Atlantic City?
underground in New York. I never played once in
Underground.
Atlantic City. So I
Okay.
was playing in illegal games, and it was very romantic. I was by then like 57 or 58. And I found good games. Sometimes they were safe and sometimes they were less safe. And I was knocking on all kinds of strange doors. But this is just who I am. Like I put
Did
my
you
arms around.
did you ask yourself, "Who am I and what am I doing, but I feel compelled to this?" Or did it just
Yes, a lot of it, yeah, but it was, kind of
run
I
with it?
dropped myself into the vat of it intellectually.
Okay.
So I was studying, I was reading, I was watching high stakes streams, like, I had no knowledge of the game, and I've streamed over 11,000 hours of high stakes content since I started training, and I
Wait,
don't know
say that
why I
again?
was so
Say that again?
attra
How much?
I've watched over 11,000 hours of high stakes content since I started training. And
Wow.
it's like kind of every night, it's still a habit. I still am watching it was some weird thing that I was watching high stakes poker knowing nothing, but I just was like, it's kind of, you want to learn and you push up against the best and you model yourself after great players. And I think that was some of it. So I just immersed myself and then I was writing by day, either doing corporate work or fiction, and then playing poker by night. And coming home over bridges and, in Blacktown cars at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was 58 years old.
So the moment that you said, I'm quitting everything and I'm moving to Las Vegas and I'm gonna make a run at this as becoming a professional poker player.
That was, I've had 3 world-class coaches in my life, and my 3rd coach, who is still my coach, um, he said to me, "You're never gonna in so many words, "You're never gonna improve unless you're in a casino city." And the minute he said that, and I kinda knew it was true, but then I actually found in my notes, 'cause I every moment of my poker life is documented in language, every moment of it, right? So, I found a journal that I was keeping when I first started, even before I met my 3rd coach.
Mm,
There's something in my notes about moving to Vegas, and that's where it really gets spooky. Like, I didn't know. I grew up in LA, but I hadn't been to Vegas since I was 20. I had no attachment to the city. It was spooky. Like, when I saw that, the dream of moving to Vegas, even before my 3rd coach said to me, "You need to do this," that's where it really got, like, spooky. So,
wow.
at when I w so in 2009, so at that point, I said, "Well, let me see what this feels like." So I came to Vegas 2 or 3 times. I tried to figure out if I could be here, if I could live here, where would I live? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then I came here and I fell in love with the desert. I'm a West Coast girl. I
Mhm.
was tired of New York. I was freezing and it's a hard city as you age. I didn't like my life there, and poker helped to just give me a new reason, kind of a new lease on my life. Let me say it that way. And
Mhm.
the last time I was in Vegas before I moved, I had called a friend of mine in Seattle. I was sitting in a jacuzzi. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at the time. My paragraphs are long. But I was in a jacuzzi at the Rio, and I called a friend of mine in Seattle, and I was like, I don't want to go home.
Wow. You just felt it. You just felt at home. You felt
Completely at peace. Yeah,
at peace.
completely at peace. Yeah. And then I did fly home that day, and I got off the plane, and I was literally crying walking around my neighborhood. Like, I was that unhappy being back in New York. I hated the sunlight. I hated the angle of the sun. I hated the feel of the city. I hated everything about it. I was ready. And
You
then
were
I
ready.
spent the next 6 months figuring out, just packing up 30 years of writing files and just figuring out. And then I found a beautiful place here remotely, but all of that took time. And it just, once I decided to move, it took me 6 months to move.
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
in terms of women, like, facing the obstacles, right before I moved, I'm pretty sure I had COVID. I was more sick than I've ever been in,
'Cause this was
January
2020, January
20.
2020.
This was like December 2019, and I was incredibly sick. And
Yeah, and that
then,
was the beginning of COVID, yeah.
yeah, and then I hurt my back. I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. I mean, I'm saying this because I had resistance to the change, and that's what women need to understand. It doesn't This is, I moved to Vegas, to pursue a life as a professional grinder, which is what cash players are called. I moved here and the city closed 6 weeks later. I was alone in a new city. COVID was here. I had to go
Now
through
that would have been
the
enough to scare a lot of people just right there. They get out there, everything's shutting down, you got this na international disease that's taking over, the
Yeah.
economy's going downhill, particularly in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, when you say scare, you mean to move back or something?
No, just scared to say, "Did I make the right decision?" Like, if
No, I was terrified, not
yeah,
every day. I mean, I wasn't concerned about the quality of the decision. I just didn't know. I would sometimes sit. I mean, the good news is I have a beautiful home here, and I live in a part of the city where I can walk and feel sunlight and all of that. But I would say I want to go home, and there was no home to go. There was no I didn't know what that feeling was. I just felt so alone and weird.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I anchored myself to my game. I studied every day. I was playing online, all that kind of stuff, and then finally vaccinations, and I finally got back to my. It took a year and a half.
Well, plus
Um,
what was happening in New York at that time, I mean, New York was, ground zero, and
kind
so
of
you were probably looking back going, "Boy, I'm glad I'm not there."
that I was kind of very happy, but I think I was extremely, yeah. But
Yeah,
and again, just that it doesn't just because something isn't a straight line
yeah,
doesn't mean it's not you didn't make the right decision. And I think for women trying to figure out I moved to New York by myself when I was 32 with a dollar and a dream. I didn't even have much of a dream. I just want to get out of LA. And the beginning of my life in New York was very, very difficult.
yeah.
So women, I think, need to understand that it just because it, men get to have narratives that are um, fraught, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
women you present narratives that are not perfect or streamlined or everything falling right into place. They often get some criticism for that or like that. So men get to have sexy, difficult narratives, and women get to be blamed for difficult narratives. And I think women need to understand that
It's okay, it's life.
it's life.
It's life, and it's okay. So far I've written down 4 really great points that you've made. One is listen to the inner voice that we have, listen to that gut, listen to our gut, but listen to that inner voice. Keep a journal. Keep a journal, right? Because how well has that helped you, right? Looking back on it, I can't wait to read your memoir one day. You've got this.
Thanks.
I mean, I can see this as a movie. I really can. Um, don't resist change. Don't resist change, right? And
Right.
don't be afraid of change. Okay. And then it isn't always a straight line. Getting to
Right.
where we want to be, it isn't always a straight line. So don't get so down on ourselves if we have to take a right turn, left turn, pivot, turn around, U turn, whatever. And
There's
so,
a very famous, I'm sorry, there's a very famous poker player who came to Vegas. He's on the tournament side. And he came and he went broke and he went home. And then he came back and he went broke and he went home. And then he came back. He is now one of the most famous players in the world. And so,
yeah,
especially in poker, there's a tremendous learning curve, and I'm not. It's different on the cash side, but this question of trial and error. JL Kraft went bankrupt 3 times trying to create Kraft Foods. Again, the complication of narrative and aspiration and how we're living our dream. And I don't like the word dream, but I do and I don't. But the vision we have for our lives, and how it gets complicated and how we stay connected to it, all of those things that I think women have some are not necessarily I think that some women have to grow that muscle and have to feel entitled to grow that muscle.
yeah. I like that entitled to grow the muscle. Yes. And everyone's on a different timeline,
Yeah,
right?
I love
People,
that. Yeah.
some people, I mean, let's face it. I feel like I'm figuring out what I love and who I am, at this point, and it's great. But I feel like I'm a late bloomer. But I'm like, it's okay.
Well,
It's okay.
I'm like the queen of the late bloomers, and again, I feel like it's a judgment
Yeah. Yeah.
that we inhale that idea that we're
Yes.
quote
True.
late, and I'd like to stop saying it for myself because
I
what
think
does it mean? It means I could track my life for you, and it would make sense that I did things later than other people. But we tend to valorize youth and people that do things ahead of schedule. The reason that we valorize smart kids is because they're ahead of schedule, right?
yeah, good
So,
point.
right? Yeah. So, and for women, we're slotted into things like, and I respect women raising kids, but we are slotted into those identities fairly early, starting with the dolls that we're playing with.
Yeah.
So, where do we feel entitled to color outside the lines
Yeah.
and to live our lives according to our own, to not according to someone else's script for us?
Yes, yes, yes. So let's go forward now. So that was, you took us back to 2019, 2020. You're out in Las Vegas. Now it's 2025. When you look back, how far have you come? You've been playing this basically full time for 5 years, right?
Not for 5 years because I didn't start playing
Oh, okay.
like a year and a half after I came because there were no vaccines and I'm older and I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
Vegas had plexiglass in the poker room. It was very lonely and very frightening to see. And then started playing and grinding, and then another variant came through, and I stopped again. So I had a lot of stop and start. So I would say the last 2.5, 3 years, I've had a straight shot at grinding and hours and putting my time in and experiencing the challenge of playing with many men at my level who are much better than me or have been in the game longer, and like having a learning curve here, and also just holding my own and constantly just putting myself in the line of fire, and that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I can't. It still feels pretty dreamlike. I still wake up sometimes like I'm like, wait, what? What's happening here? Like, I live here.
This is so it's so cool.
Yeah.
Wait, well, we'll talk about Las Vegas and a mod escapade there, in a little bit. Wow, so this is really great. So, what are your goals for this year? Can you say? What is that? It's just to continue to doing what you're doing?
Yeah, poker is really
Are you working on a
poker.
book?
I'm working on a book. Poker is really a peeling the onion kind of phenomenon, and
Mhm.
so you I study every day, I play every day, um I'm writing every day. So those things are just sort of every day for me. I'm not really kind of a goals person
Yeah.
in that sense, but I have a sense in my poker life of where I want to get to, where I feel I am. I look at my progress, I look at my challenges. I've had a number of sort of psychological obstacles to playing here, playing against men. That's been very hard for me, and it's been really helpful to write my way into those realities and working on the manuscript about my poker life, because I do think that women are very, very different in the game. How we learn, how we connect with poker, how we train, how we react to male aggression. All, and especially for me, I'm a boomer with a particular history. I was
Mhm.
socialized to privileged masculinity from my 60s upbringing, and all of that I had to deconstruct to be here and
Mhm.
fight for every dollar on my terms.
Wow.
And I that was not automatic for me. Let me say
Yeah.
it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you weren't given a handbook.
No, and right, and there's a lot more women on the tournament side, and they're playing around the world, and it's the golden age for women in tournaments, I would say. But cash is a whole different animal, and I think for women, especially if they are raising children and they can play online, or they can cash gives you a lot more freedom in terms of your scheduling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely uh, I can't even express to you how intellectually how challenging it is to just nail it all down a day at a time, because every
Because
time
you're
you
no, I didn't mean to cut
I
you off.
no, every time you play, you just there's something I put into place this week, like an idea, a piece of strategy that I've been working on for months. I just been thinking about it, talking to my coach about it, and I'm like 2 days ago, I was like, oh, okay, like literally,
Wow.
that's right, yeah. The trial and error in this game is like it's very difficult to explain unless you're in it.
But you probably don't have a lot of role models, like people who are a generation ahead of you to look at, right? So you're the one of the leaders of this. The younger women are gonna look up to you to say, "Teach me," right? They're gonna think,
I hope so.
"Yeah,
I mean, I know there's a handful. I wrote a poker book, and I made space in that book. My book is called The Total Poker Manual.
okay,
It's singular visually in poker literature. There's no equal to it. I say that proudly and truthfully,
mhm,
but visually, it's a beautiful text and perfect for beginners. But I made space in that book for women of every generation. I wrote into their lives. And so there are women that I know. I don't know them personally, but there's a couple women in Vegas. One who I consider one of the most important women in poker, and she's still playing and whatever. And I don't know her. So I see women who came before me, and they are pioneers for me. But you're right. I don't um,
you're a
yeah,
pioneer, pioneer."
I have a couple of friends. I
Is there a
mean,
sorority or a sisterhood in, with among the women or not
um,
really?
yeah, sort of. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. Um, I just try to help women come into the game with integrity, because I also I train women in mental game mindset issues, and I see young women coming into the game, and I know the tricks. I know how men are gonna um, cajole them, bully them, flirt with them, manipulate them. Like I have a gal, a neighbor who plays bigger than me because she came to Vegas with just a lot of money in the bank, and she wants to play bigger because she has the money to do that. She has no idea what she's doing. And
Mhm.
it doesn't, I mean, she sometimes wins, she doesn't, whatever. It's her journey. But she
Right.
would say things to me like, this, that, and the other, and I would just correct it and say, you might want to revisit this because this is how you're losing your leverage in a hand. This is like psychological, like some of the mindset stuff she was not getting. Her habits are extremely weak, and it doesn't matter that she's playing bigger because you can go up the rank. You can see really bad players at very high stakes in the game. The
Mhm.
point is not necessarily how high you're playing. So I like to help younger women figure it out in Vegas because it's very demanding here.
Oh, I bet. I was thinking, I bet some of the lessons though, and some of these things that you're talking about, mindset, your demeanor and everything, it can be applied to other businesses. It can
Sure.
probably be great for someone like me as an entrepreneur. There are probably things that I could learn that I could apply. Whether it's dealing with other men in business, how to handle myself if I'm pitching for money, right? Whatever.
Yes.
So
Everything in poker happens in our corporate lives, every single thing. There's a complete intersectionality there on every level. Negotiation, mindset, timing tells, silence, appearance, bluffing,
Mhm.
everything. Bankroll management, everything. Yeah.
What is your next book going to be on? Is it going to be
I'm
on this
sorry.
your next
Oh
book?
yeah, no. My memoir that I'm working on is
This your
about my poker life. Yeah, yeah,
your memoir? Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for
Thanks.
that. Are you on social media where people can follow you?
I am. I mostly I was on Twitter, but I left Twitter and now I'm part of a growing poker community on Blue Sky, and my handle there is at poker for girls at bluesky.social.
Can you say that again?
And
At poker what? A little
at
bit
poker
slower.
for I'm sorry, at
Yeah.
poker for girls
Okay.
dot bluesky dot social. And
Is the
that's yeah,
four the number four or is it FOR?
FOR.
Oh, FOR. Okay, great.
Yeah, Poker for Girls at Blue Sky, and, yeah.
Great.
So, I'm involved with some poker groups on Facebook, but, most of might do a lot of posting about mental game issues on Blue Sky and, try to share my knowledge and wisdom, and I'm kinda very highly trained in the mental game space, so it's a
Ooh,
big deal in terms of performance aesthetic and stuff, so
that's really exciting. That's really exciting. Well, a couple things for our listeners. We
okay.
make sure you get our newsletter or at mod.life, www.mod.life, and subscribe, but also keep an eye on our events tab because we are in talks right now with Sasha to go out to Las Vegas and have an escapade, and we are going to learn how to play poker with a woman professional poker
Yeah.
player. And we're gonna do lots of other things that weekend, but that's going to be a big, big, big highlight. And so we're in the works. It's January 2025 now. We're in the works of planning it, and it'll be sometime in the second half of 2025 that this will happen. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We can't wait to come out there and meet you. Sasha, your story is just so fascinating, and I could go on and on and on. And we definitely are going to have you on my YouTube channel, which we will film when I come out there. But, and I know your story hasn't ended, so perhaps we can have you back on to the podcast to hear more. But I did have a few well, first of all, are there any other points that you wanted to bring up? Because I have a few questions for you, and then we'll wrap up. Your
No, I'm
story.
good. Yeah, I just also want to say in terms of contact, if folks want to reach out to me for any reason, they can reach me through my website, which is suttonstories.com,
Yeah,
SUTTON stories.com. And if folks have any questions about poker, or they happen to be playing seriously or recreationally, I love to talk the game and I love to help women find their way wherever they are in the country and however they're playing, or if folks are coming to Vegas and they're part of your community and want to reach out to me, I'd love to meet people and just, it's a personal mission to bring as many women into the cash side of the game as I can and to help them feel comfortable.
that's so exciting. What is there a casino that you play at regularly, or do you move around to different ones?
I move around a little bit, but it's a short list of what are I consider the more serious rooms in the city.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, I
Okay.
mean there are a lot of choices here, and everybody. It's a strategic decision in terms of where you play and stuff.
Nice.
So
Nice,
yeah,
nice, 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 nice. So exciting. Well, I do say you are definitely living the mod life. And on that note, I'm going to ask you a couple questions here.
okay.
If there were a song that when you hear it, that song always just makes you feel so great. It takes you back to maybe your times in California, back in the 70s. or even earlier or even later. What is that? I mean, I know we all have a handful of them, but if there's one song or group that you just love, who would that be?
Well, I'm gonna actually give you 2 because,
Okay.
my musical tastes are fairly varied, as I'm sure all of ours, are, but I Motown Philly by Boys to Men.
Ooh,
I loved
okay.
early hip hop and rap and, R&B music in general, all of that whole um, yeah, but Motown Philly is a song. I was a dancer when I was younger, and just so much joy, can't even put into words. And then Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin.
Oh,
I came up. My parents taught me how to jitterbug when I was 7, so I'm a big jazz girl and a swing girl, and
oh,
that
that's
song for
great.
me, like, and I stream a lot of this music when I'm playing poker, so I listen to it a
Oh, you
lot.
actually
So
listen to it in your ear while you're playing?
yeah, I kinda shouldn't. I mean, it's
That's so
hard to explain
cool.
why I shouldn't. Yeah, no, everyone kind of is listening to something when they're playing. I mean, not everybody, but I shouldn't. I should just stay very it's like the last little, uh, sort of, um I can't explain it in terms of I
Yeah.
keeping me in or out of the zone. The music, I think, puts me more into the zone, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mostly
I
it's
can see
just
that.
yeah, but I do listen. It just is calming, and, it's, it's a competition, and so you do what you can to just not feel insane.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because I follow tennis. I hear a lot of tennis players, obviously, when they're walking out on the court, they have the headphones on, and some of them have certain songs that they listen to just to get them pumped up, get them pumped up, which always
Yeah, no, thank you. That I love
yeah,
that, and that's
yeah,
sometimes how I feel exactly, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's really great. Let's see, what else I wanna ask? What does it mean? I mean, this is Mod Life and created for women, midlife and beyond. What does being a modern woman mean to you? Does it mean something different to everyone, which is great?
Yeah, I mean, I'll repeat myself a tiny bit to say again, I think that we still have a ways to go and have some work to do around feeling entitled to color outside the lines, and to live our lives according to our own how we are scripting our lives and determining our lives. But
Mm,
beyond that, I would say women. I moved to New York when I was 32, and I moved to Vegas when I was 63, and none of it's been perfect. And I would say women are pressured to overplan. We overplan, and we work for that perfectionist scenario and narrative. I would say if women are going to take a chance, take a leap, take the jump, like don't I over planning is not necessarily a ticket to success.
yeah, that's true. That's so true. That's good. What if there were a message to send? Because we've got women from all over that are be listening. If there was a message to send out to women who perhaps want to do something more with their life. They're at that stage where they're going, I'm getting out of my marriage, or I just got divorced, or, like you said, I'm living in this city and I look around, I don't get motivated anymore. There's got to be something more out there. What is it? What would you say to them? I mean, I think you've already said it, but if there were another,
I mean, I think this question of entitlement, it's one of these kind of fancy psychological words, but I think it's very kind of in our gut in terms of how I think that older women, are really reinventing how women age. And I'm proud of older women broadly as a class for doing this. On the one hand, I feel like women are still behind the 8 ball in terms of what they feel entitled to. But on the other hand, I feel like this is the golden age for older women to
yeah.
be in the world and envision different lives for ourselves and a different level of entitlement. And I would say simply that I still struggle with, feeling judged or feeling like I'm too old to do this, or I'm intellectually behind the 8 ball, or other guys I play with started when they were 13, all of those things. So it's layered, the entitlement, trusting the inner voices, canceling the negative inner voices. It's like
Yes.
there's like several prongs to this in terms of reinvention, and surround yourself with people that are going to support you and your emotional or artistic or intellectual ambition.
That's so key because you become who you hang around with, and you
Yeah.
want to hang around you do, and so you wanna be around people that feed you really great energy, you know, which, by the way, you feed me really great energy, and I
Oh.
wanna be friends with you and to
Yay.
be in your circle as well. So no, this is really great. So I just want to remind people your website, suttonstories.com.
Yeah.
And if they want to follow you on Blue Sky, can you say that again? The handle?
Sure. It's at poker for girls dot blue sky dot social. It's BSKY dot social. If folks are on social, folks are on Blue Sky, they can just search poker for girls. It'll come right down.
I love it. I love it. And if you're in Las Vegas, please reach or going to Las Vegas, please shoot Sasha an email at her website and let her know that you heard her on this Mod Pod and get out there and keep an eye on our events page for our escapade out to Las Vegas to actually learn how to play poker in a non-intimidating yet fun environment. And after that, we're going to go hit the tables. Okay.
I can't, really, I
Great.
can't wait.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you so much,
we'll
Jennifer.
have you back again. What a great story. And congratulations on living your best mod life.
Thank you so much. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Well, there you go. There you have it. That's a bit about me and about our mission here at Live the Mod Life podcast, where we are going to explore the endless possibilities of our modern midlife. If this sparked something within you, please don't stop here. Step on over to our Mod.life community at www.mod.life, and you are going to get exposed to all kinds of infinite possibilities. So remember, I leave you with peace, love, and all things mod. I can't wait to bring you this first season. Let's go.